Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Do you like being educated on things that entertain but don't matter? Well, then you need to be listening to the podcast with Knox and Jamie. Every Wednesday, we put together an episode dedicated to delightful idiocy to give your brain a break from all the serious and important stuff.
Whether we're deep diving a classic movie, dissecting the true meanings behind the newest slang, or dunking on our own listeners for their bad takes or cringy stories, we always approach our topics with humor and just a little bit of side-eye, and we end every episode with recommendations on all the best new movies, books, TV shows, or music.
To find out more, just search up the podcast with Knox and Jamie wherever you listen to podcasts and prepare to make Wednesday your new favorite day of the week.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
You guys, welcome to hopefully the first of many, many episodes of whatever this is going to become.
Oh, an evolution.
An evolution. So if you're listening to this, then you know that my name is Troy McEady.
And I'm Dara Laine Sussman.
And I'm assuming you've probably heard one of us or both of us together or something, right?
Something.
Like you're familiar.
You're not coming here blind.
No, you're not coming here blind, but maybe you're confused, and that's what this is going to be. We're going to be explaining to you why we're recording this, what it means, what we're doing, we've been secretly working on, talking about for like over a year. Yeah, I'm excited. Where should we start?
Well, I guess we could introduce the name of this here podcast.
Okay, I'll let you do it.
Hey, everyone, it's me, and this is What's Your Issue? With Troy and Dara.
Now that has to be our opening for every single episode.
Yes.
So Dara and I have been talking for a long time about doing a podcast together. And you guys ask us to do a podcast together literally all the time. I think since I started podcasting, because you and I started podcasting together like my first year ever doing it.
Yeah. Was it in the middle of lockdown? I think it might have been right before the pandemic.
Yeah, I think it was.
Wow. A whole life we've lived.
I know. We get a lot of requests from listeners to like do something together, to work on something together. And I feel like when you and I podcast together, like we're both aware that there's just like an ease. We have a great chemistry. We are on the same page knowledge-wise. Like,
yes.
You know.
The chemistry is palpable. And yeah, there's nothing that I can really say that will trip you up, and vice versa. And if there is a moment of that, it's fun to hear because we are on the same page. So if there's something that we haven't heard about, then oh boy, it's story time between the two of us.
Yeah. And it's rare that you meet somebody who's like very fanatical about the same stuff as like we're very the same kind of like Rain Man.
Yes.
If you will. And it's cool. And one thing that you and I really, really connect on outside of like, of course, there's like the early 2000s stuff. There's the celebutante stuff. There's the reality TV stuff. But you and I love magazines, and we both collect magazines.
Oh, we love magazines so much, so what's your issue? This isn't going to be a podcast where we just antagonize each other and say like, literally, what's your issue, Troy? We will be talking about magazines. Our true love, just such a touchstone of culture for me back even before the early 2000s. I always loved a print magazine.
Yeah, tell me about like growing up, like what were your magazine, like your go-to magazines? Like what were the ones that you guys had around the house? The ones that you remember maybe like having your first subscription to on your own? Like what's your relationship with magazines?
Okay, so it really all started, I would say, elementary school. I'm doing the J14, the Tiger Beat, the classics. And then around middle school, that's where I really started to just hoard subscriptions. And I do remember it was a time where it was like always negotiating with my parents. Can I have one more subscription? And you had to, fill out the little card that would come in the magazine. You'd send a check to get your subscription. But high school, I was big. Middle school, high school, it was Cosmo Girl. 17, Elle Girl. I was really into Lucky. I don't know if anyone remembers that shopping magazine. And it had It had all these stickers in the back of it where you could stick in the pages of like, oh, I want to buy that. So you could flip back to it. Nylon was my high school fave. And then my parents were big magazine people. And my mom had Redbook magazine, which was like a ladies magazine, which I loved to sneak a peek at it in the bathroom. She'd leave it there and it would have like middle-aged lady sex advice. And I'd be like, let's see what's going on here.
You're reading about like the best lubes for like a middle-aged woman.
Yes. And they also, I remember, had like a sort of almost penthouse little section where it would be like sexy stories between a woman and her, of course, husband. And it would be like, my husband and I, like, we had a little fun with a popsicle because we're, you know what I mean, like keeping things alive. And then my dad, I would sneak away to his bathroom. And there would, of course, be the golf magazines, the Sports Illustrated. But then there would also be a Maxim. And I'd be like, let's take a look at this as well.
Let's destroy my image a bit.
Yes. Troy, what about you? What were your go-tos?
So I didn't really grow up in a magazine family, but I did like have members like my grandmother was a big magazine gal. And I remember being young and like, she would like keep special magazines and fan them out, which is like very grandma, you know?
Oh, I love that.
So I remember like for years going to her house and like reading the same ones, and that kind of like sparked the idea in my mind that you could like collect them if they were important to you. Because I always viewed them when I was little as something that people, they read it and then they throw it away like with the newspaper or something.
Yeah.
But my grandma would keep like Prince magazines or like Michael Jackson or Tina Turner or whatever, and like I just thought that was so cool. So I would read the same magazines for years going to her house, but like it didn't ever feel, I would get like excited about it, you know?
Yeah.
I would say as far as my own personal journey of like buying them, my first like magazines that I remember being really ravenous to go buy was those like specialty ones, like where it would be like just Britney or just Jessica, or like, you know, they were like $30 and they were like made by like Teen Beat or whatever, but it was just one person. Those are the first magazines I ever owned on my own. And then of course that is a gateway drug.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it leads to the Teen Peoples and the, you know, the Teen Vogue and all of that stuff. So like, yeah, my first like round, I would say, was like teen magazines specifically. And then that transitioned to like Rolling Stone, you know, because it's like, well, if I'm buying the Britney special edition, I got to buy that Rolling Stone where her boobs are on display, you know?
Of course.
So that led to my like true magazine discovery, which was then like Nylon and like, you know, Blender. I think Blender was probably my number one go-to. Like, to me, that was the Bible. Like in the 70s when people would read like Mad Magazine and like store them under their bed and shit, that was me with Blender. Like it spoke to me more than any magazine has ever spoke to me.
Yeah, I wasn't much of a Blender head. I think mostly because I had so many teen magazines, like so many How to Get a Boyfriend type magazines.
How to dye your hair with Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Oh God. There was always an article about dyeing your hair with Kool-Aid. I swear to God.
Or like, did you know that you can use lotion as conditioner? Like stuff like that.
Yeah, I also remember loving going to Barnes & Noble.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about this. Let's get into it.
I could go to a Barnes & Noble. I mean, that was growing up in New Hampshire where there's not much to do. And Barnes & Noble was open till 11 p.m. My friends and I, we would go and we would just like sit, get a Frappuccino, and get a stack of magazines. And we would get the magazines that like we did not have subscriptions to, ones that like we would get like bridal magazines, and we'd get all the different ones that we didn't usually get to enjoy from home.
Yeah.
And just pour over them for hours.
Oh my God. Is this a universal experience or is this just like certain gals?
I wonder, because I have heard people talk about this before, but I mean, I do feel like you have to be a certain amount of dork to be like, it's a
Yeah.
Saturday night, I'm 17.
I'm going to get a hot chocolate and I'm going to read magazines for 4 hours
Yeah.
alone.
That's a
Yeah,
certain type of person.
you're right. God, that experience, I mean, that really too was like, because there were also, magazines they continue to be very expensive in a lot of cases. Like,
Yeah.
of course, there's the Us Weeklies and stuff that are like $3, but then you have like the specialty magazines, like the ones that are in the back of the rack that are like sometimes covered in plastic.
Oh, yeah.
Like those fashion magazines or like those
Mm-hmm.
music magazines. They can be like $40 or $50 and
Yeah.
they're really cool, So at 17, like, what else is there to do aside from read it in full for hours and then put it back? I will also tell you that a big magazine gateway for me was like my second job. I worked at, I'm whispering this, Hollister.
Oh my God, I worked at Hollister for like 2 weeks.
You did?
I had a lot of jobs for about 2 weeks.
Me too. We were living like in tandem the same life in different
Yes.
parts of the
Yes.
country. But Hollister was a magazine store also. Like they sold CDs and magazines, and they always had the best magazines, the coolest magazines. That's how I discovered Blender, was working at Hollister. And I'll actually never forget, I started stealing the magazines, if you want me to be honest with you.
You're iconic. I love it. As you
Okay.
should. They were paying like what, $5.25 an hour back then? I mean,
Oh my God. I'm like folding shirts for a bunch of racist ghouls.
yeah.
I'm stealing the magazines, mama.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget the first one that I stole was that Britney Blender where she talks about Christina. And I was like, this is like, why don't people care more about this? Like, this is so cool,
You know what I was thinking about the other day was how back when I used to have appointments, like going to the doctors, getting my hair done, whatever, I never minded it back then because I always knew that there would be all these magazines that I wouldn't normally have. Like when I was a little kid, I loved going to the pediatricians because they had the cheerleader, like All American Cheerleader magazine. Now, mind you, I couldn't have been farther from a cheerleader. Could not do a somersault adequately, okay? But I would just be so excited to go through and dream about like wearing, what are they called, like spankies and like doing herkies.
You're like, I want little softy shorts in every single color. Roll.
Yes.
Roll. Yeah, that too. Like the waiting room magazines where like they weren't really of your particular interests, really, but they still filled this like weird void. Like I remember being obsessed with those weird like parent magazines even back in the day when I would go to the doctor and stuff, and like
Yes.
it's just I just loved them.
Oh.
And I think the thing that you and I both relate on when it comes to these is that it just feels like there's so many relics in these magazines that feel like sometimes very important to culture.
Yes.
But who's digging through the 1999 Entertainment Weekly to talk about it? Nobody.
And that's the thing about magazines that I find so interesting and also special. It's something that you really have to chase because it's not like books where people have they looked at them with like a little more of a reverence that you keep them or you donate them. Magazines, in the moment, I feel like you're not thinking that this is one day going to be like an important piece of culture. So as you start like getting stacks and stacks of magazines, you're like, well, I got to throw them away. But, in the end, and I am very passionate about this cause, my Miss America cause, which is preserving physical media because you never know when one day, the powers that be, the streamers that be will pull whatever piece of media that you love. I mean, like we can go online and find different articles from magazines, but like that's only assuming that those websites will hold on to them and that we'll be able to revisit them. So to hang on to magazines or DVDs and go out looking for like your white whale magazines and then keeping them, preserving them, I think is an important part of culture that, you know, someday when we're in a desert wasteland of Earth, we can show the children Cosmo Girl.
One day what we're doing is going to be very important.
Yes, one day, mark our words.
One day somebody's going to be like, God damn it, if only we had the transcript of the 2008, like, you know, Blender magazine with Courtney Love. And we'll be like, hi. We'll raise both of our hands with manicured nails and be like, hi, we have it.
It will somehow be the antidote to whatever, like, pandemic issue or asteroid hurtling towards Earth. Like, if only Courtney Love mentioned it in that one article. Well, we've got it.
She did, darling. She did.
She did. Call off the dogs. We've got it.
Yes, I 100% agree with you. The physical media of it all, like preserving these really important relics that, you know, as two people who purchase magazines on the internet a lot, I can tell you these mostly are sitting in people's garbage. They are in the attic for 20 years. They're in the basement. They're collecting dust. Like, people just do not understand the value of a magazine. And I mean, even something like you and I were talking about exploring even like Playboy and stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, like the centerfold gets the attention and people talk about like who's on the cover of a Playboy, but Playboy has insane articles.
Nuts.
Like literally insane. Like especially like the women's revolution era, like the burning of the bras era, Playboy is fucking bananas.
People used to say, oh, LOL, I read it for the articles, which was, yes, partially a tongue-in-cheek joke of, well, but there's also boobs in it. But the articles were a very important part of the magazine. Who's going through those? We are.
Yeah, I know. Even like in the Playboy documentaries, like they've talked about like, you know, certain articles and stuff that made headlines back in the day that, you know, 30 years before we were born. And it's just crazy to think that like nobody knows that. Like, I'm just like, we live in a world where people don't know that Playboy was writing these insane fucking articles. And like you said, it was what separated them from like Penthouse and stuff, is that they had these writers come in and write these articles about like the time. So yeah, it's, to me, that shit is so wildly important. I'm like, where is everybody?
Yeah, and I also think too, on top of that, all of media is kind of dwindling into, like, it went online, and now so many people who are working at these online, like, once were magazines, then became just like online publications. Now everyone's getting laid off from that. I feel like print media still needs its retrospective to have a place where we can honor it and talk about it. And also, just to let everyone know, we will not just be talking about early 2000s. I know you guys are used to that, but it will span decades.
Well, it gives us the opportunity to, you know, kind of flex some stuff that we don't really get to talk about often. Yeah. Of course, we both love the early 2000s, and obviously, I mean, it will inevitably find its way on the show.
Of course.
You know, but like, it will be really fun to get to explore other stuff, other decades. Like, we both love 80s content. We love 90s stuff. And even like outside of just like the tabloid of it all, like, I'm excited to talk about like fashion and music, movies, and, you know, there's really no limit when it comes to magazines. There's a magazine article for everything. So yeah, I'm excited to just kind of like explore outside of what people know of us, because we have so many interests.
Yeah, we're enigmas wrapped in riddles and cash. We have
bet it up.
You know, who knows? Maybe we'll start talking about Better Homes and Gardens and Woodworkers Magazine.
It turns into us talking about whittling wood for like an hour and like making birdhouses, and that's it.
Honestly, I think we can make that entertaining.
I will also say, just to add to the earlier point about preserving media, you also have to think that like the internet became really like relevant celebrity wise, like when we were in like high school or whatever. But there are full ass narratives that are told about celebrities only through magazines.
Yes.
Like the People magazine narrative of Britney's life is so different versus like the internet or whoever, you know? I mean, there's an article that I think about all the time of Christina's. It's like her first Rolling Stone, and she's like a new artist, and they're like, what's it feel like to be like a potential princess of pop? And like she's in her first limo and all of these things, and like you're not gonna get that anywhere else than in that magazine that was like the index of these people's lives for a long time.
Yeah, and everything is so curated by, you know, media teams now. Like people know the game. Whereas back then people were much more naive to it all. And like the celebrity profile used to be such a cool, exciting thing to have a journalist like hang out with a celebrity for weeks, sometimes over several weeks, getting to know them, and they're finding all these incredible tidbits and weird parts of their personality, stuff that you really, even in celebrity profiles today, like they always have just like a PR person watching everything, keeping everything, you know, in line, nothing kooky. But back then people would go off.
That's so true. There's something about the fact that it was like a person who would physically show up and like just observe. And then they would write about whatever they saw.
Yeah.
And of course, there would be times where like the celebrity would try and get them to pull stuff, or they would get them to pull stuff, and then that would make headlines that they wanted certain things redacted or whatever. But that's what made those articles so interesting, because we didn't have like a gateway into their home. We weren't watching them on Instagram live all day, do nothing in their house. And like, it was really like celebrity was so mysterious. These magazine profiles really, it did feel like you were walking through their house, and like, you know, I mean, even them explaining what their home was like and what they were wearing and what their attitude was like, or what they ordered for food. It was like really mind blowing. And also too, I mean, like you said, like celebrities were so much more naive about putting themselves out there. They would just say things, and I mean, celebrities say some crazy shit in these magazine profiles.
Yeah, because they get so comfortable with the person that they're, you know, it's not like a camera's in their face or their PR person is standing right there. They're just kind of hanging out with this person who's often like close in age with them, someone that they kind of eventually start to feel pretty friendly with. So then the guard comes down and the secrets spill out.
There's one that I immediately think of too, of Whitney.
Ooh.
I want to say, it was her Out magazine.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it was like obviously a big deal because people were like, oh my God, is Whitney gonna like come out? Like, what is this interview gonna be about? And then the whole interview was her just going off about the industry and what she's been through and the people she can't stand, and you know, just being completely unapologetic, unfiltered, because again, there's just some person standing there with no camera.
Yeah.
They're just writing down the shit that they're seeing, you know? I'm obsessed. Like, I just love that.
Also, I'm thinking of another thing, how profiles and stuff, magazines in general, could influence celebrity culture so much, like Nancy Jo Sales doing the profile on Leonardo DiCaprio and all of his friends and coining the Pussy Posse.
Yeah.
And then that also happened with the Brat Pack. It was a journalist following them around, and he coined the term the Brat Pack, and it stuck. Like, people read these profiles and they made an impact on the culture in a very real way.
Didn't that happen with the Spice Girls too?
Oh, I think you might be right.
I don't think that they were called the Spice. They were called something else, and then they were like, they're spicy.
Yes.
Or whatever.
I think. Well, we're gonna have to find that profile.
Yeah. See, a treasure trove is waiting at our fingertips, and nobody, and it's all sitting in people's basements in trash bags.
We have to thank the hoarders of the world for keeping the culture alive, because I'm sure that is just where we're getting our magazines from. I feel like we should set up a P.O. box so people, if there's any people out there who have their stuff in the basement, they find their grandma's basement.
Because I get a lot of messages from people being like, hey, we're throwing these magazines away. Do you want them? We should set up a PO box for that.
Yeah. And if you guys also want to send us other presents, that's fine too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
We like presents.
We love a gift. Listen, we live for a gift. I can even recall filling out some free gifts with purchase in magazines in my day.
Oh gosh, I forgot all about those.
Come on now. You get a free Instinct teddy bear if you send in this rebate, whatever.
What a time to be alive.
Should we explain the concept a little bit of what we want the show to sound like?
Yes, let's explain how this will work, what the nuts and bolts are.
So obviously if we could, in a perfect world, if we could sit here for an hour and go through every article in every magazine, we would.
Yeah.
You know, but we decided we had to figure out a way to turn this into, we had to package this somehow. So we figured each week, one of us will choose a magazine and we'll pick a couple articles from it that we think are really interesting and like really explore them. And immediately we both have so many in mind already.
We're going to go through themes of different types of magazines. I mean, I was just thinking today, like I need to get my hands on an old Oprah magazine, an old O.
Oh my God. Oh, you just took my breath. You literally took my breath. I'm not kidding. Oh my God. An old O magazine. Oh, yeah, like the discontinued magazines that nobody's even really thinking about. Not that O is discontinued, but you know what I mean. It may as well be.
Yeah, and just Oprah on the cover of every single one.
Also, like the transformations of her body on the covers of the magazines, like where, you know, she would be like her eras of like celebrating being rail thin.
Yes. She's back, and she's back to that era, baby.
I know.
What's old is new again.
She's like, diet and exercise and lots of sleep.
and spraying Windex on your food so you don't finish
it. Also, of course, that means that we'll be able to revisit magazines more than once, which is great, you know.
Yeah.
We're a sustainable podcast.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we really are sustainable. We're taking magazines from a landfill and putting them into our home.
Turning them into the gold that they should be. But yeah, like I said earlier, it gives us an opportunity to explore all kinds of things. So, you know, if we're doing nylon, we can talk about fashion, we can talk about music, we can do Rolling Stone and talk about whatever. We can do Playboy and talk about porn, which I love. There's so many options.
And it's a theme that we can work around where Troy and I can just have fun and talk to each other, which is really the name of the game. It's really just a ruse for Troy and I to hang out.
It is, honestly. And the topics can be nice and like kind of loose and flowy. And, you know, on occasion, I'm assuming some of these articles will be super dark.
Yeah.
You just can't predict. And I think that's what's exciting about it is like you and I have been kind of doing like a version of the same thing in a podcast space for a long time. And I'm excited to like really get to talk about stuff that people maybe don't even know we have interest in.
It'll be a fun opportunity for people to learn more about us and to love us even deeper. Sorry, is that too far?
No, are you kidding? For an Aries, it's never far enough.
Honey, I'm an Aries rising.
Hello,
honey. We're monsters.
You can't love us enough. But if you guys have magazines that you really want to hear us explore, ones that maybe a lot of people don't talk about or whatever, like I would love to know your requests, what you want to hear.
Yeah, it could be anything.
And we are going to try our hardest to like photocopy these magazines and make them digital so that you can actually see what we're talking about. And so
maybe not those like Vogue September issues, but
yeah. Oh God, can you imagine?
But we'll at least have the articles that we discuss, and we've also been talking about putting it online on YouTube so we can have the articles right there in front of your face in real time. And then we'll also, of course, have a Patreon.
Yeah, so we were thinking about obviously starting a Patreon and like continuing the content, especially because we can't read these magazines in full. Each episode, like there's so much opportunity to explore more stuff in the same magazine on Patreon. So that'll be really cool. Maybe some of the more tawdry articles.
Ooh, yes. It's always more fun behind a paywall.
Yeah. Maybe that's where you'll get like the like Penthouse magazine articles.
That is exactly what our audience wants from us. It's just smut.
I can't wait to buy some Playgirls. I'm gonna be honest.
Ooh.
Hello,
Oh my God.
Playgirl.
That is such a great idea. I cannot wait to see what that looks like.
Because they would do full like editorials for Playgirl, right? Like the guy would have a full interview.
Oh, yeah. It was like Playboy, but with boys, but with hairy chests.
With Burt Reynolds like laying on an animal rock.
Yes, that is exactly the one I'm thinking of.
Ooh, Playgirl will be fun. Oh my God. I'm excited.
Me too. Oh my God. What else is there to say, my king?
I'm trying to think if there's anything that we missed, anything that we need to add.
Troy, we've just decided we're going to set up a P.O. box, right?
I think so. I think that's official because we can't let you guys can't throw magazines away. You just can't.
You can't
even send us TV guides. We'll find something in there to talk about.
Oh my God. Please do not think anything is too small or too random. TV guides. We love it. Honestly, by the end of this, we're going to have a full-scale museum.
And honestly, us dying surrounded by stacks of dirty old magazines just feels so appropriate.
We can have like a Viking burial or something, put a bunch of magazines on top of us, light it on fire, and push a canoe out to sea.
And instead of screaming Balenciaga, we'll scream like, Teen People!
17!
Red vodka! As we burn.
Oh, that's a beautiful way to go.
Well, thank you guys for listening to us. This is obviously just a little trailer, and we hope that you're excited. We are very excited. I can't believe this is actually finally happening.
I know. I'm so excited. My number one Troy boy, my internet road dog.
I know. My sister. Like I said, you guys have always wanted us to do a show together, and hopefully this vibe is like what you want, because I'm like really into this. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah. Come on. You guys like this vibe, right? This is a good vibe.
Come on, girls.
Come on.
Come on.
Well, I guess rate, review, subscribe. Like, you know, if you're hearing this, like, let's get started. Let's get those ratings up there.
And also at some point we'll have a Patreon set up and an Instagram and all the things, and you will see that all kind of happening slowly but surely.
Yes, as we grow into a print empire.
Yes, we're gonna save print media.
Oh, wow. We're such good people. We have just such pure intentions. We just want to bring back print media.
We're so selfless. Jesus.
We really are. It's so cool of us.
Well, we love you guys very, 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 very much. Thank you so much for listening.